Welcome yet again to another edition of the HIV Prevention Tracker. My name is Ausse, Kalega, and I'm a systems analyst working with the Makerere University School of Public Health, the METS program. For this particular session, we are going to go through line listing to extract our data using the line listing application. And log into the system again using the training account. I'll clear my cache to clear temporary memory from my local browser. And as you can see, we have a couple of applications that do line listing extraction. We have event reports, which has been phased out now with the new changes in the DHIS2 environment. And what we have as a new system or new application for extracting line lists is the line listing application, which is yet to replace event reports and the rest of the other applications like interactive event listing. So for this particular session, we are going to go through line listing to extract our line lists. And I'll open the application. This is the interface for the line listing app. As you can see, we have a couple of options. And the left pane right here, we have where we define our data. And to start with, it will tell you that this is going to be a line list right here. So we have the input defined in the first place. As you can see, by default, it will go to event. So it's giving you information about what each input means. And as you can see, we have event, and it's telling you that you can see individual event data from a tracker program stage or event program. So what this one does is that it will give you data from a particular stage within a program. So it goes stage per stage at a time. And then if you define the program, which is HIV Prevention Tracker as an example, you'll have to define the stage as well. So for here, because we have a couple of stages, we shall go with any of the stages of interest. But for now, we can go with encounter since it captures most of our data for our clients in the tracker program. So once you define this, then you can go to the definition of the other dimensions. But before I go to them, we can also talk about the enrollment input type. So enrollment input type gives you data from all the stages at the same time, as opposed to the event, which only gives you data from a particular stage at a time of extraction. So what this one does is that it depends on the enrollment date to actually give you data from all the stages at the same time. So when you click on enrollment, it will just ask you for the program name, and it won't ask you for the stage name. That is the difference between enrollment and event. For this particular session, we are going to go to or look at event, and we shall define the program and also define the stage. So right here, after defining the input type, I'll go to program dimensions. And once I click on program dimensions, I'll be able to see all the other definitions for the dimensions that I might need to define for my data extract. So from the top, as you can see, we have the program dimensions, and we have them as org unit, which is the where data is going to come from. It will ask you if you need to use the event status, the program status, the visit date, registration date, and next appointment date. So what I can go through is maybe first define what each of these dimensions mean, starting with the dates. As you can see, because our data is coming from encounter as a stage, it captures a couple of dates. To start with encounter, because it captures event data for when a client visits the facility for follow-up activities, that will be the visit date. For when a client visits for a follow-up activity, that will be the visit date. For when the client comes to the facility to get follow-up services. Now, registration date is when the client was first registered into the system or into the program. This is the date when the client was first registered. Then next appointment date is defined when you're giving a next appointment schedule for a client to come back for the follow-up activities or visits. This is the next appointment date, and that is the difference. It's important for you to understand the difference with these dates before you actually extract your data, because it will give meaning and actual data from the system, other than you just clicking on a date and getting the wrong results. So after understanding the program dimensions, we have what we call program data dimensions. This is the actual definition of what is going to come out of the system for your clients. Remember, we are extracting individual level data as a line list. So it will come with individual level data for every client as a row. So each client is given a row with their data from the system. So for you to define which data is going to be fetched per client, you come to program data dimensions and define every column about a client that you need to look at in the line list. So under here we have types, and we have a couple of types. We have data elements, we have program attributes, we have program indicators, we have categories, category option, group sets. But our interest is actually data elements and program attributes. Because we are looking at a line list and we are looking at individual level data, we want to look at program indicators, because remember in the last or the previous session, we looked at program indicators as aggregate data. So you can't extract aggregate level data for the line list. It won't really make much sense for this particular part of it. So what we're going to do is define our data elements and program attributes. So the difference between data elements and program attributes is that data elements come from a particular stage for a client. As an example, if you went to a client's dashboard and went to a stage, say encounter or prep screening or exit, whichever data is collected under data element, and maybe just to be a bit visual, let me just open up a new page or a new tab for this case and just show you visually what I mean by the difference between data element and program attribute. So to start with, I'll go to tracker capture. We covered this particular application in the previous series, so you can feel free to go back and get more information about what tracker capture does. But just to understand data element and program attributes, remember when a client comes to the facility, they are first registered. Okay, so during registration, right here, whichever field appears under this form is called a program attribute. So the unique code, the nationality, the surname, the sex at birth, the date of birth, the age in years, and whatever other field is picked at this particular form during registration is called a program attribute. So just to go back again to define data elements, so I'll go back to the lists, and now I'll click on any client at random. So when you click on a client, it will take you to their dashboard. So the client dashboard has a couple of features. It has the enrollment details, it has the current selections, it has the profile, which is the data that is collected during registration. It has the tabular data entry, which has the stages. So from this particular section that has the different stages, prep screening, encounter, exit, these are all different stages. Okay, so whichever data is collected under these stages is called a data element. As an example, if I went to encounter and created a new encounter, every field under here is called a data element. Okay, so it's also important for you to understand the difference between data element and program attribute as you're collecting or fetching your data from the system. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Let me just go back to the previous session where we were at for us to continue. So what I'll do for this particular one is just select all types, and I'll just define or search for what I need from the system. So to start with, I might need to look at maybe client's unique ID, which is the unique identifier for all our clients. So we don't encourage using names, phone numbers from the system, because we don't want our clients' data to be exposed out there to unauthorized or unauthorized individuals. So what I'll do is get the unique ID. So we have two unique IDs in the system. We have the unique ID generator, which generates IDs from the system or for the system automatically. So if you want to use that, you can add that by clicking on the plus button right here, and it will be taken to the side of columns automatically. Or you can also use the unique ID code by also clicking on the plus to take you to the side of selected right here, as you can see. So there are two things that you can do for you to select. Okay, on the right side of the item, once you click on the plus or minus, it will either put it on the side of selected or remove it. As an example, you see that we have unique identification code. If I come here, because it's highlighted already, it means that it has been selected. So if I click on the minus, it means that I'm going to remove it from the side of selected, and it will come back to the general items, like right there, as you can see. So the highlight will come off this to show you that it's not selected at all. So to put it back, you just click on the plus, and it will be highlighted to show you that now it's been added to the side of selected. So I can just add as many data dimensions as I wish to have for my line list. So here I can add maybe sex at birth. I can add maybe population category. So there are two things again to note. When you click on the plus, it just takes it to the side of selected, but when you click on the name of the item, it gives you room to do further filtering for that particular item. As an example, if I click on population category and not the particular button on the side, it will give me this window to do further manipulations or filters for this item. As you can see, it will list all the population categories from the system for me to do further filters. So if I wanted to select like SWs, I'll just double click on SW, and you can see they are all coded, okay, as guided by the program. Every population category has a code with its name in brackets, or short name in brackets. So if I wanted SW, I just double click or single click if I wanted to click maybe on multiple categories. As an example, if I wanted to fetch only the KPs, I'll just fetch only the KPs from the system, and just going through these lists, we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this. So I can just select all of them by holding down Command on a Mac and Control on a Windows machine. Then you can select as many as you wish. If you want to select in betweens, you can just select on the first one, hold down Shift on your computer, and select the last one as well. So we'll select everything in between as well. So you can do that and use the single arrow button to push the selected items to the side of selected options, as you can see. If you use the double arrow buttons, it will push everything from this side to the other side, which is what we don't want. So as an example, if I click on this, it will push everything to this other side, but we don't want that. So what I'll do is remove everything and push it back to this side using the single arrow, so that I only push the selected items. Okay, so we only want the KPs, as you can see. Maybe I can also add this other one to this other side if I wish to add the other KP category. Okay, so now we have those, and what we can do is just click on add to columns if you want to add to columns, or you can add it to filters if you just want it to be under filters but not displayed in your extract. But I'll add it to columns. Okay, so as an example, if I wanted maybe to just push, if I only had like one org unit, I can decide not to have the org unit they are displayed in my extract, but it will be maybe just filtered on the side or in the background. Okay, so once these are selected, remember we've selected the org unit, and this defines where data is going to come from. Okay, so whichever has a highlight, it means that is the one that has been filtered or selected at the moment. So by default, user org unit is selected to just show you that whichever org units are attached to the particular account, that will be added to the extract or filtered for your particular extract. So if you don't want to have this user org unit, because this one just takes every selection that is attached to your account into the filter for your data, you just uncheck this and select the particular facilities that you have of interest. So because we're not ready to fetch data now, we shall hide and then go to the next one. So if I wanted to add visit date, I'll do the same thing. I'll add visit date here, the registration date. If it makes sense, you can add all of them. Okay, so once that is done, they'll be all highlighted to show you that they've been selected. And then we have the global dimensions. Now these are just to give you additional features of fill or extracts for your data. As an example, you see we have last updated on, created by, last updated by. This will give you a date when it was last updated and who created that particular event in the system and who last updated it in the system as well. So if you need those as well, they can make sense for you. As an example, if you're doing data cleaning and you need to know who is not entering data well or who is doing it well, you can have the created by and the last updated by to just show you which people are actually handling those particular events in the system for you to give them further support. or training. Okay, so once that is done, remember we have to define all your data. So once you confirm that whatever you need to extract from the system has been fetched, then you can click on the update button right here. Okay, so our list has been extracted, as you can see, and this is what we have at the moment from the system and from the facilities or facility that we've selected. So once you have your list, you can choose to save it again by going to File and clicking on Save. So this line list, we can say it's about, we can say line list. Copies. And then I'll save it. I remember that you have to give it a description so that it's easier for the next person to actually understand without having to contact you directly. So I'll save this and the name will change right here to what I've saved. So now that we have our list, you can choose to have it renamed. If at all there was an error in the title, you can choose to share it with someone else. Like we said before, just put in the username of the other individual and you give the access level for them to only view or view and edit. If you feel like you can give them rights to edit your data and you trust them, you can give them view and edit. But if you don't trust them with your data, then you just give them view only. So I'll close this and then we can do further manipulations. Like when you go to view, you can choose to view your data on a bigger screen. As an example, if I choose to hide the layout, it will hide this other section of the layout, and I can also hide the dimension sidebar on this other side. So when I click on this, it will just give me a full view of my data, as you can see. So to bring them back, you can just do the same, or just click on this particular button right here to bring them back, as you can see right there. So once you have this and you're comfortable with it, you can do further manipulations again by going to options, data, then you can just navigate these and what they can do for you. So if you need to, like for instance, have the font size as normal, as large, as small, the density as compact or comfortable, this is just to give you a better view of your data if at all you have big data, as an example. The other thing that you can do is that after fetching your data, you can choose to download it. Again, you can download by CSV, which is what we recommend for big data. Okay, so we shall choose to download this as CSV, and we can go with the code. The code will give you a short name of your data elements or attributes, and the name will give you a full name. The ID will give you the ID, so we don't really encourage using the ID unless it's what you really want. But so here I'll just click on code to get the short name of my data element, and it will be extracted or downloaded. So once I click on this, you can see that now I have the downloaded list for my clients. So from here I can choose to manipulate my data the way I choose to. As you can see, we have the sex at birth, the population category, the visit date. So by default the dates will come in this format, but for you to look at it in a better way, you change the format to short date or whichever date you want to look at it in, and to be reformatted to that. So this is how you can start manipulating your data, by removing what you don't need and only keeping what you need for your reporting or extract. Okay, so as you can see again on this other list, it will show you who created that particular event and who last updated it within the system under here. Okay, so away from this, I think this is what we can cover for this particular session, but feel free to give us feedback and comments about what we can do better to improve our tutorials and to benefit you on your data utilization. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you and bye-bye.